All right, it's all yours, Lori. Thank
All
you.
right, great, thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Windows 11. What I'll be showing you today is just some, there's lots of features. There's lots of things that are different about Windows 11, and I'll be kind of highlighting some of the things that I have found are useful to be aware of. And the very first thing we're going to start with is the Start button. The Start button for years, ever since I think 1995, when Microsoft did their big launch of Windows 95. Maybe I'm probably dating myself, but back in 1995, I think they got the rights from the Rolling Stones, and they had this big campaign about the new Start button, and the Start button was in the bottom left corner, and it was a little circle, and it's changed over the years in terms of what it looks like. But now with the advent of Windows 11, they've decided to move it, and so where the Start button is now is right here in the middle of the screen. So this little icon with the window pane on it is the new Start button. So a lot of people really don't like the fact that it's there. They like it over on the left because that's where it's been for all these years. So if you would like to be able to move the Start button, how you go about doing that is if we go down on the taskbar in a blank area. So I'm just going to go here in this blank gray area, and I'm going to right click my mouse. What that does is it gives me quick access to the taskbar settings, and I can access that over here on the right as well. As long as I'm in between an icon, you can see actually now it's not giving me the option. So you really have to be either on the left or right in a blank area. And now I'm going to choose the taskbar settings, which is going to bring up a dialog box. And on the right-hand side now, so this is the personalization of the taskbar. This is the window that's opened up. I'm going to scroll down and I'm looking for taskbar behaviors. So it's close to the very bottom. You can see right here, it says taskbar behaviors, and it lets us know it's going to be the alignment, badging, automatically hide, and multiple displays. And there's a little caret symbol or a little drop arrow. If I click on that, that'll expand that area. And here you will see taskbar alignment is currently set for center. So if you want to put it on the left, you just click on the word center, and now I can click left. And there you can see it actually gives you a live preview before you come out of this as to where it's going to go. So if you looked at that and thought, no, I want it over on the center again, I could choose center and it's going to put it back where it was. So I'm going to leave it on the left for now. And now to come out of here, I just have to click the X and that will close that. So now going forward, my Start button is going to be where I'm used to it being. So entirely up to you. I did try working with Windows 11 for quite a while with it in the middle, and I just found I prefer it on the left, but that's just my own personal preference. So that's entirely up to you. The other thing that a lot of people have commented on with Windows 11 is that it's very bright and it's very white. So if it feels too bright, you can change your default display to dark mode, where you will see white text on a black background. Now, how you get to this option is by right-clicking anywhere on the desktop. And when I do that, I can go to the Personalize option. So this also gives you personalization. It's a little bit different than the settings that we saw for the taskbar though, because we were on the desktop, it's now giving us the options for the desktop. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to go where it says colors. Again, there's a little arrow here I can click on and that will expand to another screen. And right here you can see it says choose your mode. And right now it's set for light. So I'm going to click there and I'm going to choose dark. And now you can see it took a minute, but now the dialog box is black in the background when I close that. So it doesn't affect my actual background desktop here, but it has now affected my taskbar. And I have Word running down here on the bottom. If I open up Word, you can see Word screen itself isn't black, but if I went into a dialog box, I would see that still looks pretty standard as well. So in some areas, it will look very much the same. Let's see if I bring up Microsoft Edge, you can see I've got a black background here. So in certain areas, it will go to being black. Let's see what happens if I open up my Outlook. There I see I still have, so it's, you can see a lot of it's still white, but it will give you kind of a dark mode. So again, it depends on whether that's the preference that you want. I'll leave it on in the dark mode. You can see when I right click, my my shortcut menus are dark. So again, if I did want to change that back, I could go back to personalize. Here you can see this is coming up dark, and this menu is coming up dark as well. So that again was under here under colors, and I went from light to dark. So I'm going to leave it at dark for now, just so you can see as I go along what that's going to look like. And now I'm going to bring up my Word window here. So I had started Microsoft Word. If you don't have access, I've got Word running down here, but if I didn't have access to it right now, I could go under the Start button and it would be possibly listed under my pinned apps, or I could click up here and I could actually type the word Word and I could start the application. So because I've already got it started, I'm just going to go down here on the taskbar. And I'm just going to draw your attention up here in the upper right corner to the maximize and restore button. That's this button right here that looks like a square. And if I click it once just on the button itself, it gives me a smaller window. And then if I click on the square, again, it goes to maximize. So that's behavior that Windows has had for years. That isn't any different. But what is different is that when you hover on the button, you can see it pops down and it shows us what are called snap layouts. And depending on the size of your monitor, it might show 4 layouts, which is what I'm seeing right now, or on a larger screen, it might offer you 6 layouts. And so what this allows you to do is a quick way when you're working with multiple applications, it's a quick way to arrange your screen. And of the 4 layouts here, the first one would give me 2 equal windows. You can see when I hover on this, one of them becomes highlighted depending on which one I'm pointing to. So if I point to this one on the left, that's going to shrink Microsoft Word. It's going to show it up on the left. And now on the right side, it gives me my other windows that are currently open that I can choose now what I want to have snapped beside Microsoft Word. So I'm going to choose Excel. And now you can see I'm looking at Word and Excel side by side. You've always been able to do this, but you used to have to choose a tile option that I think you would have been able to access. I used to access it by right-clicking on my taskbar. What I like about this is it's just really quick and it snaps it so it's just nice and equal. Like it's even, it's really quick to get it side by side. Now I'm going to minimize Excel using this minus, and I'm going to go back to this icon again, and this time I'm going to choose this one here. What that's going to do is it's going to give me a slightly larger window on the left. And now when I click Excel, so it's giving me one window is slightly larger on the left. And you can tell that by looking at the layout, how it's going to show. Now I'm going to try this one now. And now I'm going to hover on this icon here, which should change Word now. So it's up on the corner. Now I'm going to choose Excel. And now I'm going to choose Microsoft Word. So you're basically choosing which, sorry, that was Excel or Outlook. You're basically choosing which one is going to display in which window. So if I now go to Microsoft Word, if I hover on the restore button, this time I'm going to choose this side. So now Word should switch to that side. Now I'm picking which window I want next, and then finally the other window. So you can kind of pick and choose which orientation you want to go in. And now if I went back to this one, now Word should end up on the right. And now I'm going to just choose Excel, and now Excel will be on the left. So you're always, when you hover on the icon, you're basically choosing whichever window you're in, you're choosing where you want that window to go first. So now I'm going to do this, and now the windows that show up over here are the ones that are available. And again, you just click the one that you want, and then it will be displayed beside it. Now, if you find when you're hovering on that restore button that you don't see the quick layouts, or if you find you don't want to use those layouts and it's kind of annoying to have those shortcuts come on, you can turn off this feature. So when I actually first sat down this morning, when I went up to the restore button, the icons weren't showing because I had turned it off. So if you want to not have those, if you don't want to use the snap layouts, you can turn them off. I'm just going to minimize all this. So you can turn them off. The steps are in your handout. The start button that it's referring to is the Windows Start. And I can click on that, which pops up my start menu. And what I'm looking for in the start menu is settings. Now, these are what are called pinned apps, and settings normally is pinned, but if it's not showing there, you can also click up here in the search and I can type settings and now it would show up. So if it wasn't in the start, I could choose to pin to taskbar, that would put it down here, or right here it is saying unpin from start. If I choose that now, when I go back to start, it's no longer in the list. So again, if I click right here where it says type here to search, if I type in settings again, now I can actually choose pin to start and that would put it back. So that pin to start or unpin to start is controlling what shows up here on the start button. Okay, so now in my settings, what I'm going to look for here is on the left-hand side, I'm looking for system. And then on the right, I'm going to scroll down and I'm looking for multitasking. So here you see the multitasking option. I'm going to click this arrow here. And now you can see the snap windows is turned on. So if I don't want those quick layouts to show up anymore, I can click this so it's off. And now when I close from here, now when I go back and open up Microsoft Word and I hover on the restore button up here in the upper right corner, you can see the quick layout doesn't come up. So it's no longer going to be available. The only thing I can do is I can maximize and restore, or I could manually put my window in the corner. So you can see it's a little bit more time consuming to do that. So again, if I want that option back on, I can reverse that. I can go back to the start button, back to settings, and then I'm scrolling down and I'm looking for multitasking right in here. And then I'm going to turn that back on. All of these options, there's no OK button. Basically, once you've chosen your feature, you click the X in the corner. And now when I open up Microsoft Word again, I'm going to see when I hover on the maximize button, now the quick layouts are back again. So they will be there by default. It's just if you find that they're not there, you'll have to go to the setting to turn them on. Okay, so another feature that's in that same location in your settings, I'm going to go back in there again. So I've gone to the start button, going over here to settings, and still in the system category, you can see that selected on the left. We're going to scroll down and we're going to look at something called Focus Assist. And I'm going to just click on that so I can see the options that are available there. So you can see up here at the top, it gives us a description. So basically this is going to allow us to stay focused and to choose which notifications we'd like to see and hear, whereas the rest will go to what's called a notification center where you can see them at any point. So the purpose of this is one of the things that often people happen. If you're working on something, you can easily get distracted by notifications and that kind of thing. It can break your focus and it can result in lower productivity. So this is a feature that's aimed to reduce this. So you can block any notifications from popping up and preventing you from being distracted. So right now, by default, it's off. So I'm going to get all notifications from all of my apps and contacts. And what I can choose to do instead is I can choose priority only, and that will only allow me to see only selected notifications from a priority list. So I can have a look at what the priority list would be by clicking here. And you can see what it's actually going to consider. So it will show incoming calls. It'll show reminders regardless of the app being used. And then you can also choose, you can choose certain people. So if you only want to get contacts from certain people, that's checked by default. I can click here under add contacts and go through my contacts and indicate who I want to hear from. And then I can also show notifications from the apps that are listed here. So the apps that are listed here, I'm going to get notifications for my alarm clock, etc. So you can go through there and basically set your priorities. Now to get back to that previous screen, if I just click here on Focus Assist, that'll go back. I can also just choose have alarms only. And so basically all notifications are going to be hidden except for alarms. And then if I choose to show a summary of what I missed when Focus Assist was on, if I have it turned on and I have this, it'll actually give me, it'll allow me to get a summary if that's checked on. And then you can see here, I've got some other settings here that are some automatic rules. I could turn it on automatically between a range. So here you can see it's set for from 11 to 7 priority only. If I turn that on, and then you can see there's some other options here that I can go through. And then if I want further help on Focus Assist, I can click there, and here I could choose turning Focus Assist on or off, and this gives me a whole range of basically how to turn it on and off, and a little bit more information about the settings that you can edit. Okay, and I'll go back there again. And so I'm just going to take that off now, and I'm going to just turn it off again. And there's also another link here, more about Focus Assist. This gives you, again, quite a bit more information on the different notifications that you can turn off or on. Okay, so I'm going to close that now. And the next feature I'll show you is something called voice typing. So this allows you to input text by voice instead of by the keyboard. And this will work in any place where you would normally type. So I'm going to open up Microsoft Word just as an example first. So I've got a blank document open. I'm just going to maximize my screen. And then to open up voice typing, I'm going to make use of the Windows key. So on your keyboard, you should have a Windows key. It is on the left side of the keyboard in between the Control key and the Alt key. And you'll see it looks like a little window icon. It'll probably be kind of a window on a slant. It looks a little bit different than the window pane icon that you see here. It actually looks like the old Windows Start button. So if I click on that, and then if I press the letter H, so I'm going to press the window key first, and then I'm going to press the letter H, and now it's opened up. And now you can see it's actually typing exactly what I say. And it's pretty close to what I've said. And if I want to put a period at the end of the sentence, I would say full stop. And there you can see it's put the period in. If I wanted to put in a comma, I think I just say comma or insert comma. There we go. And then when you can see the little icon that's on the middle of my screen as I'm talking. If I want it to stop, I can just click I can either pause it I could just click the little button there, and now everything I say isn't going to type. But then as soon as I want to get it to go, you can see here it says move keyboard focus to the voice typing tool. Press the window key Alt and H. So if I do window key Alt and H, that puts it back, that puts up the keyboard here. So usually what I just do is I just go back and forth between hitting the start, and now it should start typing again, and then clicking it again to pause it. And then when you're finished, you can just click the X and that closes it again. So as soon as I'm ready to do that again, I just press the window key and the letter H. Oops. There we are. And now it should start typing again. And then again, I'll just stop it. So really quite useful just to basically bring up, and it'll give you, you see, it says you can also say things like delete that, or you can browse all commands in the help page. So if I click this little help icon within the voice typing, that's going to pop up. And here you've again got a list of information here. Here's all the punctuation commands. So if I pick my desired, you can speak in different languages. So now I've just changed it to English, and you can see it shows you all the different things that you might want to insert, and then it tells you what to say. So with a bracket, it would be left open parentheses. The right bracket would be right close parentheses. Here's comma, period, full stop. So there's all your punctuation commands. And here, this will give you some voice typing commands. So when you basically, if you wanted it to delete something, or if you wanted to select what you've typed. So really very useful. If you're not that quick a typist, you can get it to do a lot of your typing, and you can see what it's doing, what it's putting in as you do that. So the first step is always to get to the location where you would normally want to type, whether it be in an email. If I go now to, if I minimize this, and if I went into my Outlook, and if I started a new email, position my cursor where I wanted to type, again, I could just do Window H. And now as I start talking, it's going to type my email. Okay, so now I'm going to go from here into Windows Explorer. Now, Windows Explorer is available down here on my taskbar. And one thing I'll just point out on the taskbar is you can see some of the icons are displayed with lines underneath, lines or dots. That's telling me that those are applications that are currently open. So I currently have Microsoft Edge open. That's my, that's the Windows browser that I'm using, or the internet browser I'm using. I currently have my GoToWebinar open. I have Excel open, and you can see as I hover on the icon, it shows me what's open. Whereas if I hover on these other icons, it just tells me what they are. So this is the Microsoft Store, there's the Mail, there's File Explorer. So I want to now show you some things in File Explorer. So I'm going to now click on File Explorer, and I'm going to maximize, and I'm just going to go into my Documents folder here on the left. And again, you're seeing it black right now because I have changed my mode to dark mode. And I'm just going to go into a folder here. So you can see what my files look like. This screen over here, I've actually got a preview turned on. So your ribbon that used to be in File Explorer is gone. You've got icons up at the top. So I'm just going to click here on View. And when I look under Show, that's what's turned on my preview pane. I'm going to just choose to take my preview pane off. So it used to be in File Explorer, you had a View tab at the top, and then you had a ribbon. Now you have, it's gone back to the drop down that we had years ago in the Windows environment. Now here under Show. So this is everything. Normally you would have had checkboxes for all of these things up on the top ribbon. The other thing that they've done is Microsoft has put in all these different icons for working with your file. So example, if I just click on, I'm going to click on this file called Schedule 2023. And when I go up to the toolbar here, you can see there's a cut option. So if I'm moving the file, I could use cut. If I'm copying the file, there's the copy option. Here's the paste option once I've copied. So if I copied something, now paste becomes available. Then I've got a rename option. I've got a share option, and then finally I've got a delete option. Now, For copying and pasting, a lot of people are used to using the right mouse button. So if I was to right click on the file, this is called your context menu, or it's often referred to as a shortcut menu, and the options that are here have changed. You used to have a copy and paste option that was listed here, but now what you have is you've got these icons. So if I'm copying a file, I would use this icon. Or I could go down here to show more options, and then it gives me the shortcut menu that I'm used to. But I find that's a lot of extra clicks, so I've just gotten used to. So if I am copying, I just go to this copy icon here. Now, what was never in this screen before is the copy as path. And what this is going to do is it's going to actually copy the path of the file. So I'm just going to click on that so you can see what that does. So it's now copied the path, and I'm just going to go into Microsoft Word, just delete this text here. And now if I go to paste, you can see it actually copied the path of the file. Now, this is useful if you need to be able to actually browse to that location in another screen. So I had copied the path from that screen. If I went into File Open, and that's the path I want to be at, I could go to Browse, and then right here up at the top, if I click up there, I can right click and paste, and now it's put that path in. So it copied, because I had the file selected, it actually copied the path and the file name. And just to show you another way of doing that, if I go back here now, if I was just in the location, so I'm in Documents and I've got my Lori folder selected, I'm going to right click on that folder and choose Copy as Path. And now when I go into Microsoft Word and browse, again, I can click up here and paste, and now it's just put that path in. So that would now let me, the only thing is it actually copied the quotation mark there. Let's see. There we go. And now it's actually changed to that path. So there are instances when I have needed to have either put that path, quite often I've needed to put the path in an email, or if I needed to put it in a document. So that's what that feature is for, is to actually, instead of me having to click up here and take note of the actual path, you can see when I click in there, it shows me the path. Now I can right click there and choose copy. But really it's kind of nice to not have to actually go up there. You can just right click here and copy as a path. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize all that. And the other thing that you have access to is something that they call the Windows 11 secret start menu. And what the secret menu is it just gives you more options. It's not all that secretive, but it's referred to, I've seen it referred to in a lot of different documentation as the secret menu. So it's sort of very context sensitive. You saw already when I right clicked on my taskbar that all I saw was taskbar settings. But now if I right click on the actual start button, it's going to pop up and it's going to give me quick access to a number of different options. So this is where I can get quick access to my settings. So that's going to take me to the settings that we saw earlier. So instead of having to click here and then look for settings there, I'm just right clicking, going to settings. I also like right clicking and going directly to my file explorer, because the advantage of that is if I do it twice, no, I thought it would give me another window, it doesn't. So that's, again, just a quick way to get there instead of having to know to go to that icon. And you can see actually, because let me show you that again, because I already had File Explorer open, so there's already one window open there. If I right click here, I actually get another window of File Explorer. So now I can actually go to the start button here, or the maximize button, and I could choose to, now you can see I've got two windows side by side. So I'll show you that again. So if I've already started the File Explorer once, and I'm going to show the Documents folder, and I'm going to go in here to Basics. So now I've got one folder open. I'm just going to minimize that. And now if I will right click on the Start menu and open up File Explorer again, now when I hover on the Restore, I'll bring this window up on the side and then I'll choose this one. So now I have two windows. And so if I was wanting to take, say if I open up this screen, I'm going to open up under basics, I'm going to open up letters on this side, and I'm going to open up memos on this side. I would be able to drag one file from one folder into another very easily because I have the two windows open. So by starting File Explorer from here and then starting it from this start menu, I very easily got two windows open that I could display side by side. Also, what's useful under here is being able to get to your task manager. This lets you see the applications that are running. So if you were having issues with one of your applications, if you had Word running more than once and it shouldn't have been, you'd be able to click on the actual application and end it. So it's a quick way to get to your task manager. So a lot of the same options that you had available before in Windows are available under here, just as a quick way of getting to it. And here you can also see here, it's a quick way now to go to shut down or sign out. So if I was needing to restart my computer or do a shutdown, I have those options quickly available under this right click. Now, instead of right clicking on the start button, the other thing you can do is you can use the Windows key and the letter X. That also will bring up the menu, and then I can just use the arrows to move down through the options. Now I'm going to open up a few windows here. So I'm open up Microsoft Word. Now I'm going to open up Excel so you can see the two windows. They're not full windows. These are the leftover from when I had tiled them. And again, I'm just going to straighten that out. So now they're two side by side. And actually let's bring up Outlook as well. And again, let's see, I'll do this. Okay, so I've got three windows open. And what I want to show you now is how we can minimize all the windows except for the active one. So I'm going to make Microsoft Word the active one. So I'm making it the active one just by clicking on the actual window. And I can see my cursors there in Microsoft Word. And what I'm going to do is on the keyboard, I'm going to press the Windows key followed by the Home key. So what that does is it minimizes everything but the active window. If I press the window key again and home, it's going to bring them back again. So Windows, and now if I make Outlook the active window and do window key and home, now everything is minimized except for Outlook. And then again, I can do the window key and home and it'll bring them back. This I find is really useful if I'm using two screens. So if I've got stuff on one screen and stuff on another, and I just want to focus on the active window, again, you make sure you click on the window that should be the one that's active, and then window home will drop everything else down, and then window home again will bring them back up. Now that was actually minimizing everything but the active one. And now what I want to show you is how I can quickly just get to only my desktop. Now the desktop is the show desktop button is down in the bottom right corner, and you don't actually see an actual icon, but as I move my mouse down here to the bottom, as I get over to the far right, all of a sudden I can see a line display. So when I'm over here, there's nothing displayed in the right corner, but as I get far enough over to the right, there I can see the line. And you can see I actually get a pop-up as well that says show desktop. So if I click on that, it now drops everything, minimizes everything quickly, and then I can click again and it comes back. So it's just a quick way to quickly minimize everything out of the way and actually see your desktop. So if I was needing to start something else on my desktop, or maybe I just wanted to personalize my screen, maybe I don't want this background anymore, I can right click, go to personalize, and that would let me pick a different background. So I'm going to go with this one now. There we go. Okay, so now that I've chosen that one, the button becomes a little bit more obvious with that particular theme that I've chosen. You can see it actually now looks like a button instead of a line. Now, because I went and did something else, it's now not recognizing that those things have been minimized. So I can bring everything back up again. And then once again, when I click show desktop, it'll drop them down and then bring them back up. Now there's a special app that is available that's called the Tips app. And this, I'll first of all show you by clicking on the start button down here at the bottom. In the pinned section, you should see something that says tips. Now, if it wasn't there, you could click up here where it says type here to search, and you can type the word tips. And you can see there's a special app called the Tips app. So if I click on that to start it, you can see it gives you a whole way of exploring Windows 11. So you can go through this, see what's new, and that gives you 14 different things that are new. So it talks about the Photos app. So these are in addition to some of the things that I'm showing you today. I'm just using this screen here. It's just going through, shows you how you can control your mic from your taskbar, different background settings, different emojis. So I would encourage you in all your spare time to have a look at these as well, just to open your eyes to a few more things that are new. So there's 14 screens you can go through there. And then if I just click this home button here, that takes me back to the starting screen. So again, this is all in the Tips app. And then you can see there's different icons down here at the bottom. There's a tour you can take. There's some tips on organizing your desktop, things to make your PC easier to use, tips on personalizing, security. There's a whole list of keyboard shortcuts, different touch gestures if you're using a Surface or another type of tablet that has a touch screen. And then there's something here, this show all tips. If I click on that, this gives me access to all the different tips. So I'm just going to close that again. So again, that was under the start button. It should be in the pinned apps, but if it's not, all you have to do is type up at the top and type in the word tips. And there you'll have. And if you want to be able to come back to that later on, if it wasn't in your pinned apps, any of the things that when you search for them, when they come up, you can see as soon as it comes up, you have the option, I can pin it to the taskbar, which is down here. Or if it doesn't say unpin from the start, if it says pin to start, then you know that you'd be able to pin it to start to have it available under here in the pinned section. When you're looking at this pinned section, you can, if you're not sure even what to search for, you can click here on all apps, and this would give you an alphabetical listing of all of the apps that are available in Windows 11. And then I can click the back to take me back to the main screen. So these are the ones that have been pinned. Once you go to all apps, if you found one in the list that you wanted to have access to that isn't in the list, you can just right click on it and then choose pin to start. And then that will make it available in the main start screen, or you can go to more and you can choose to pin it to your taskbar. Okay, and then the last thing in your handout is a list of useful keyboard shortcuts. And the first one I want to show you here now is how to take screenshots. So if I had, say I had something, I had Microsoft Word open, and maybe I had a dialog box open. I'm going to click on the arrow here beside font. So there I've got a dialog box. So if I wanted to take a screenshot of that, I could press my window key followed by the shift key and the letter S. And you can see that that now pops up a little window up here at the top. And the first option is a rectangular snip. The second one is a free form snip. Then you have a window snip, and finally a full screen. So if I click the window snip, that should now capture that window that's there. And if I now click back, if I cancel out of there and now click in the document, you can actually see something's popped up here and it says that the screenshot has been copied to the clipboard and saved. And I can select here to mark up and share the image, or I can just click in the document and now paste, and there is the image that it captured. So it actually captured the window as well as the dialog box. So if I bring that back up again, if I press, so again, it was Window Shift S. If I now go to this rectangular snip, I can also just click and drag around the window. And now if I cancel that, click back in my document and paste, there I have the image. And again, if I do that again, this time when I drag around it, when this comes up and it tells me it's copied, if I click here, this actually brings up the little window of the snipping tool, and you can see down here I have little markup options. So I have a ballpoint pen, I have a highlighter, so if I click the highlighter, and let's say I want to highlight this area here, you can see it's actually highlighting that. And now if I leave it like that, come back here and paste, you can see it pastes it in with that bit highlighted. And this is just like a picture, so I can click and drag the corners to resize it. And there I have my image. And what I usually like to do with these images is I go, when the image is selected, I can go up here under picture format and I can click and put a border on it. That'll just put a nice border around the outside. And if I needed to crop anything, I can go over here and click my crop tool. And if I actually just wanted to focus on this part of the dialog box, I can bring that up. So this is available in your applications, but I can also use that window snip when I'm actually in something in Microsoft Edge or in Chrome. If I wanted to now capture, say I want to capture this information, same thing, window shift and the letter S, it's going to let me now, if I keep it on the rectangle option, I could now capture that information, and I could go into an email, can start a new email, click in the body of the email, and I could paste that information. So anytime you want to capture something on your screen, you can use that screenshot option. So it used to be that you had to have separate programs for doing that. This is still called the snipping tool. It used to be though that you had to like if I actually went to my start button and clicked up here on type to search, I could type in snipping tool. So there's the tool, and what I could do is I could just right click on that, pin it to start, and now by doing that, when I click my start button, there is where did it go? Oh, it's because I've added so many things here, I have to scroll down and it's added it to the bottom. So I could start it from there. Or if it's something I use a lot, I can just right click and pin it to the actual taskbar. And now anytime I need to use it, if I don't want to have to use that keyboard shortcut, I can just click on it from here down at the bottom and that will start it as well. And you can see here when I start it from the icon, I could now click which mode I want to be in, click new, and then I'm ready to do this, the screenshot. So the advantage of using the keyboard shortcut is it bypasses this window and it goes straight to creating a new one. Okay, so the next key that's quite useful is the clipboard history. That's using the Windows key and the letter V. That pops up and it will show me, if I turn it on, it will allow me to copy and view multiple items. So if I turn that on now, you can see it shows the last thing that I copied. So if I go back into, it shows me the last screenshot that I did. If I just went in here and I'm just going to go to another site here. This, just looking for something that I want to copy here. Okay, so say I want to copy this. So it doesn't really matter, just find some text. And if I right click and choose copy, now when I look at my clipboard history, now you can see the next item is in there. So eventually I end up with a whole bunch of things in here. And what the advantage of doing that is if I went back into Microsoft Word now and I brought up the clipboard and I want to have this piece again, I can just click on it and it'll insert it. Or if I do Command again, and then I could pick that one. So I can collect things in the clipboard once that's turned on, and then I can choose what it is that I want to paste. So again, what I have to do is bring that up. And so initially you have to make sure that it's turned on. So if I clear that now, you can see it says you'll see your clipboard history here once you've copied something. So initially I had to turn it on so it would collect the information. So there was an on button when I first started there. Okay, so now I'm going to look at special characters. So this is using the Windows key and the period. It'll pop up and this just gives you quick access. You can see there's different GIFs and there's different emojis. And up here at the top, you can see you can switch through. So this is just like what you have available on a phone. So just quick access to the different symbols. And you can see when the window is open, you can just keep clicking different ones. And then when I close it, so it's just letting you see that you could use those emojis in any of your emails, any document that you're inputting text. And it's just a matter of bringing up so it's the Windows key and the period. Now I'm going to use the window key followed by the tab key. That takes me to what's called the task view. It gives me access to everything that I've currently got open. So it's a quick way to now switch. If I wanted to switch back now to Excel, you can see it takes me to Excel and I can maximize that screen. So Windows tab pops everything up and then again, I can switch to what I want to switch to. You've already seen the keyboard shortcut for voice typing. That was Command H. That turns on the typing, and now you can see as I talk, it's going to type exactly what I say. And then earlier I showed you that you could go down here and click on the bottom right corner for your desktop. If you didn't want to have to take your mouse over there to show the desktop, you can actually very quickly just press the window key followed by the letter D for desktop. So that's useful if you're working on a confidential document and somebody's coming up behind you and you don't want them to see it, you can just quickly press Window D and it will pop it down. And then when they leave, you can press Window D and it will bring it back up again. If I want to see the task manager, and again, I showed you the task manager earlier by right-clicking on the start button and going to task manager here. A way you can do that from the keyboard is Control Shift and Escape, and that will also pop up your task manager. The Windows lock screen you can quickly get by pressing Command L, and that will just give you your lock screen. The lock screen normally will come in if you leave your computer idle for a few minutes. But again, if you're say working on something and you're going to leave your computer and you want the lock screen to come up right away, you can just press Windows L and then you're safe to leave it in the lock screen. No one will be able to get into your computer again unless they know your password. A quick way to get to the File Explorer is with the Windows key and the letter E. You can see that's going to pop up the Windows Explorer. which again is pretty quick to do without the keyboard, just using the File Explorer icon down here at the bottom. And I think we talked about this already. The Windows key and the letter X will bring up what they call the secret menu, which again you can also access by right-clicking your mouse. So some of these you can see it's just as quick to use by the mouse, but some of the keys are really quick to do things without having to move the mouse. And then finally, another one that I've shown you already, the Windows key and home, that will quickly minimize all the windows but the active one. And that one's not really obvious if you've maximized your screen. So I'm just going to restore my screen. So I can see right now I only do have one window open, but if I bring up Excel, I'll just use the restore. So I've got that there. And then again, I'm going to bring up Outlook. So I've got 3 windows now. Outlook is the active one. So if I press the window key and home, everything will get minimized except for that one. Okay, so at this point, I've covered all the information. So we've got a few minutes now. Are there any questions?
I don't see questions. I just saw maybe this was a question, or it could have just been a comment. I'm guessing from who's asking it, it's more of a tip. But she said the Windows key plus D will also minimize all to the desktop. But you might have already said that, Lori.
I think I did. Yeah, that came up when I did the keyboard shortcuts. It probably came up when I was talking about the desktop option. Yeah, it's much easier to use Windows D instead of trying to click in the right spot on the taskbar.
I like the voice thing. That's
Isn't that
cool.
great? I had no idea that was there.
It's like when you're talking to your phone, it never works out well, but
No,
it
but
still
I think
saves time.
this one's pretty good. I've noticed it's pretty good. I'm teaching a class this afternoon to seniors, and I'm going to make sure I show them that one because often, it's just nice if you're not that keyboard oriented, you're not really quick on the keyboard. It's nice to, so that's just something to, and then you just have to edit it. At least it gives you a better starting point, at least. And it's much easier than editing on your phone. I don't use the voice on my phone very much because it's such a small little window. But
Yeah.
I think it's quite helpful, I think, in Microsoft Word.
Well, I don't see any other questions. If
Okay.
anyone has any, feel free to put them in the, we can keep this open for a minute or so, but I don't see any as of yet.
Okay.
Great.
Well, I highly recommend
Lori.
taking the time to go through the Tips app because there's, again, quite a bit more in there than we had time to cover today. So that'll be useful just to review that afterwards.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you. Have a great
All right,
day.
bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.